Hi everybody. Okay, so today I'm going to show you something just like super simple to make. It's hot in Dubai right now, and for dinner we're just going to do kind of a nice salad, but we wanted something a bit, a bit more exciting than just like green salad with like cucumbers and tomatoes, So what I'm going to show you is a really nice and pretty recipe, and you're probably familiar with it, but I'm going to make it extra good and give you little tips, okay? So everybody knows what a Caprese salad is. So it's like a tomato mozzarella salad, okay? Now, I'm going to do a version of it, but I'm going to roast my tomatoes and I'm going to add a couple of things to it, okay? So what do? Like if you know me, if you followed me before on Instagram, you know that I'm a big fan of roasting vegetables, and I love roasted tomatoes. So I'm going to show you what I took. I took these kind of locally grown tomatoes. You cut it in half, okay, and then you just stick, if you're in like over a sink, you just do it with your hands. I'll just like carve it out by hand. Otherwise, you take a knife and you carve out the meaty part and the seeds, okay? So you just take all of that out, take all of the like juices out, okay? And then you do that for both halves. And I mean, I did this with about like 8 tomatoes. If you're like, it depends how much you eat and how much you want or whatever. Like I've got a bunch over here that I've already prepared. But like if you're 2 people, maybe 4 tomatoes, something like that. So they're like this. So they're empty. What you do is you sprinkle a little bit of salt on them. Okay. So like sprinkle, right? Like but you do want to get some salt in there, because you want to get the water out. So I put these on a big baking sheet. Let me show you my really big baking sheet. But obviously you can let me go here so you can see. Obviously, you can use a smaller, like a cookie sheet or whatever. I put baking paper. I don't put any oil at all. I used to, but it's really unnecessary. I actually prefer to add the oil later in the dressing, okay? So I'm gonna put the tomatoes. I'm not actually going to do it now because I've already done it, but put the tomatoes here, line them up, keep them like a bit, a few inches apart. Put it in the oven, 200 degrees. So you don't need to do it at like super low temperature for like 3 hours. You do it like 200 degrees Celsius in the oven for like half an hour or so. When they start getting dark under, okay? Now I'm going to show you what that looks like. When you see, so they're not face down, they're, the skin face down. So when they start getting charred like this, when they start getting, dark, then you flip them over, and you're going to see that it might be watery inside. So you'll flip over, and then you cook for another 5 minutes, not even. And you could choose to leave it in the oven for an extra 10 minutes, but with a turned off oven, you can take it out. Doesn't really matter. It will depend on your tomato, and everybody's got like, the tomatoes differ and vary. But generally speaking, I would say 5 minutes, like 30 minutes skin side down, 5 minutes flipped over, and then you take it out and let it kind of air out and cool on the baking sheet, okay? I point over there because that's where my oven is, okay? So what it looks like when it's nice and cool is these beautiful, lovely, see, tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these, place them nicely in a, either if you've got a nice big plate, or I use a nice, like I have a big pie plate. I like pie plates because they allow for a bit of depth, or if you've got like a dish, like a lasagna type dish or like a Pyrex dish, that works as well. So if you see that there are some pieces of tomato that are a bit too big, then you just cut them in half. Okay, So this is what I'm doing. I'm assembling this like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It depends what your style is. You know me, I'm not Mrs. Perfection, okay? So I just put it all over there. Now, you know these asparagus? If you're in Dubai, you've probably seen these, and they're like in little packets, and it's like next to the baby corn and all the like Asian vegetables. And they're usually like really, really cheap, okay? So, and they're very thin asparagus, like this, okay? So it's not like our typical asparagus. These are like really kind of, you know, almost matchstick thin. So what I do, these are cooked, okay? But what I do is I take a big pan, and in the pan, I put nothing. I put no oil. I will just heat the pan, high heat. I wash these, toss them in, and saute with salt for maybe, I don't know, like a minute. Not very much because they're thin. They cook quite quickly, and you don't want them to be mushy, right? Like nobody wants mushy asparagus. So, and the pan kind of turns a bit white. You'll see because of the salt. Anyways, that's fine. So you let these cool. Like, so I did this already with these. I'm gonna, you know, they're cooling now. What you might want to do is add some extra virgin olive oil on them, and just kind of toss them with your hands, okay? And meanwhile, while this is cooling, you take your mozzarella. Now, you could take burrata. I want to prepare this now. I don't want to, like, you know, do it at the last minute. So I prefer mozzarella for that because it's firm and it stays in one kind of, you know, piece. If I put the burrata, I'm afraid it's just going to become like a big creamy mess. And anyways, I'm not in the mood for something as heavy as burrata tonight. So I'm just going to put these, you know, kind of everywhere. And you can obviously arrange them nicely and whatnot. I'm not, like, you know, too bothered. And it looks pretty even if it's not perfectly arranged. To be honest. So there we go. There. Now, this is where I take some basil. I've got the basil here. It's not from my garden because my dog would eat basil if it was in my garden. So we've resorted to just buying it. And I'm just gonna wash it. There you go. Chop it all up. And again, like pretty roughly chopped. And I sprinkle everything on the tomatoes and the mozzarella. And I put my asparagus kind of everywhere. Maybe put some of it under as well. There you go, to make it extra pretty. There. And a bit more of this basil. And this is what my plate is looking like right now. It's like really, really, really beautiful. I'm sorry this video is making everything look whiter. Like, I feel like I look very white, but I'm actually kind of tan. So I don't know. It's the light or something. And what I do is I also toast pine nuts. So these pine nuts are not toasted, but the way I toast pine nuts is I don't do it on a pan, because when you do it on a pan, it ends up being a bit burnt, you know, it's not evenly toasted. The best way to toast pine nuts is to put them on a cookie sheet, put them in the oven for like, I don't know, I don't even want to say a time. I just put it into a 175 degree oven, 150 degree oven, and then you leave it for about 10-15 minutes, and then you check and you make sure you toss them because pine nuts burn really, really fast. So it's going to take a while for them to get golden, but as soon as they start getting golden, they can burn within a minute. So you got to check that. Let it cool, and then you sprinkle on top. I'm not going to do it now because it's not toasted. So there you go. And then at the very end, you put some balsamic vinaigrette. Here I just do, you know, like a quarter balsamic vinegar and like 3/4 extra virgin olive oil, and I put it all on top. And look, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Look, I'm gonna try to show you. It's so nice. So there you go. It makes for like a really nice dinner salad. And if you want to add like other vegetables or fruits, you can add figs, like sliced figs. You can add nectarines or like peaches. Anything that's like really in season that's nice, like strawberries could go well as well. So if you wanted to add fruit, you could. If you wanted to make it greener, you can put it on a bed of spinach, like baby spinach. That's nice as well, or arugula, because arugula goes so well with this. And there you go. And if you want something a bit hefty, or serve it with Parma ham or bresaola, or some kind of cured meats. That's really nice as well. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this and that it was useful, and I hope you have a wonderful day.